Dog, someone came up.
I don't care.
All right, I know you hate. And there she goes again. It's okay. She's fine. The person walked into their apartment, so it's over.
It's a lot like, I don't know if you don't, I don't know that you do this, but I think like last week, 5 different recordings, you somehow texted me in the first minute of the recording every time. I don't know how you know to do it. You have to have like an alert or something set up, or like a camera in my apartment, because your timing is insane. I don't understand how you keep doing it. And it's not me texting you first. It's not.
I think it's because I text when I'm not working, and when I'm not working is when you're recording.
I guess. Amy's done it a couple times, but I'm like, you are definitely the champion. You have done it the most times. All right, let's get back to it.
Do I text you more than Amy?
No.
Okay.
You were like concerned for a second, but then you were like relieved.
Yeah. Hey, you know, I would be like, I'm texting my friend too much. I need to give him some space.
We've talked about this a lot, where you and I, or you text me, I think more than anyone else in your life.
Yeah, I don't text anyone else.
And I text you about this, similarly that I text Amy. I text Amy a lot more. Or our conversations last longer, I should say. You and I usually, it's just like a couple words here and there.
I think it's because you and me are very comfortable with just dropping a topic as soon as we can realize the other party has lost a little bit of interest. Where other people, I'm always just like, it's 2 texts max here before Carlos's ADD kicks in and I stop caring.
Well, I also want to add that someone, the second it gets to a conversation they don't really want to talk about, will stop responding. Like, you won't even say, like, I don't want to talk about this. You'll just stop responding. And it'll be like 5 messages in a row from me. And I'll be like, all right, well, I guess I'll change the subject then, since Carlos can't be an adult and come and talk back. You know you do it too. Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah, I'm a terrible texter. I realized at one point I was good, and then I made it my mission to not be good at it anymore. And I'm glad I succeeded.
Do you want to do me a favor and pop some headphones in so I don't hear myself?
No, I got headphones on. I think I'm staying a little close to the mic, and I got you on full blast.
That's fine.
Sorry.
All right then, it's good now.
Okay. Yeah, that's what.
Okay, so I have notes because I have to have notes with you to keep us on track, and by on track I mean off track. So give me a second.
I love the Pachirisu, or is that Poncha? Ponita.
Which one? I don't. You just said the names. I don't know which one you're
the
describing.
horse ass motherfucker.
Which one could be the horse?
I think it's Pachirisu.
Do you? Do you?
No.
Not the one that has pony in the name? Like,
I'm sorry.
apology not accepted. You just do better. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
I guess I'll just stay up all night to watch The Boys before you have a chance to watch it tomorrow, and just text you my thoughts.
as if I'm not going to do the same thing.
Okay, you're a terrorist. Yeah. What? So what are the notes?
First of all,
go to the notes.
midnight is not all night. What do you mean? Like,
I thought it was like a 3 a.m. launch. And also, I'm in bed by midnight.
I don't think so. Well, that's because you're old. I go to bed usually at like 2 on
Yeah, and then you text. How do you text me before I get up? And I get up really fucking early.
How do I text you before you get up and long after you've gone to bed? Well, I don't know if I've explained this to you over the course of our entire lives, but I don't sleep well. So I don't sleep for very long.
I'm always just like, God damn. I wake up to a text from you and I go to sleep.
You wake up to a text from me at like 2 a.m. and then you wake up to another text from like 8 a.m.
Yeah, I'm always and it's always the 8 a.m. one I'm more shocked about because I'm like, oh, I get it. You were laying in bed and then you dozed off. And the 8 a.m. one I'm like, I'm up right now because I'm going somewhere. I have to be at work. I'm like, I know that motherfucker just has to roll over and open the screen and then he's like, all right.
You're not wrong. Well, the way, so it's funny because for a while I used to set my alarm. I think when I commuted into the office, I would set my alarm an hour and a half before I had to like start my shift. Because it would be like, I don't know, it'd be like a 30-minute commute, but it could like vary because of traffic. And then I'd have to time in a shower and have to time in like, you know, waking up. And then eventually when I got more comfortable, I'd just knock that down to an hour. But since I don't do that now, my alarm is set half an hour before my shift starts. But the problem is sometimes I just wake up and I'm like, well, if I go back to bed for like whatever amount of time it is, I'm just gonna wake up more tired than I am right now. So I'm like, I might as well just stay awake.
Do the viewers know that you are your serial killer behavior about your morning routine?
What do you mean?
You don't drink a cup of fucking coffee.
Oh.
You are just getting up in the morning, raw dogging that life existence.
No. It's not raw dogging. It's very much not raw dogging. Okay, Roe v. Wade. I can't raw dog anymore. But no. We laugh because it's very painful and very, very sad.
Yeah.
No, I drink energy drinks. I get them shipped. I buy I think I usually buy I buy them in packs of 16 of 2 different flavors, 32 at a time. And I don't drink them every day. Just if I'm tired, I'll drink one.
I remember there was a point in my life I tried to get into the energy drink,
so
because I was like, oh, all my friends drink this shit. It's probably good. And then I was like, no, you and Alex are both deviants drinking that nonsense.
I will clarify that I drink the one. There's exactly one brand that I enjoy. It's called Full Throttle. And it prides itself, its tagline is the drinkable energy drink, as in it doesn't taste like fucking cough syrup, sugar, and meth. So that's why I drink it. Whereas,
and they would always give you such a large fucking can.
They do. It's I think it's 16-ounce can. A normal can of Coke is 12 ounces, and then a bottle you can buy at a convenience store is 20 ounces. So it's in the middle of that.
I remember that was my other issue with it. It always felt like a commitment.
Well, so that's the weird thing is because the can isn't opaque, so I don't really know how much is in there unless I pick it up. It'll take me 3 hours to drink one because I'll sip it here and there, forget about it, and then I'll finally oh, how much is left in this? I'll shake it, be oh, that's a lot, and I'll chug it. So
dude, you need help. You shouldn't. That's just definitely not good for your body.
No, but I don't think coffee is much better, so it's fine.
No, coffe's good for you. Coffee's for the soul.
Oh, it's good for you because you drink it?
Yes, actually.
I'm glad. Why did I switch you out? Right, notes. Hold on. My phone went back to sleep after I opened up the notes. There was something you wanted me to remind you to talk about.
Oh, okay. You sent me a video today about a man who jumped out of a second-story balcony.
But yeah, it was remind Carlos of the Roy Wood Jr. Cheating story.
I love Roy Wood Jr.
He's a funny dude.
Yeah. So, fun story about someone jumping from a high vantage point.
So do you want to give the context? Because you're so good at that, as we learned from Back to the Future synopsis.
Okay, my Back to the Future synopsis was A+. Viewers at home. Okay. He sent me a video about someone cheating on their spouse and deciding to jump out the second-story window.
I want to give more context.
Other than copying the joke.
As always with Carlos, I have to give more context.
No, you don't.
It was an old dude talking about his cheating exploits as he was in his youth, and he had several different examples of things he'd done when he was cheating. He wasn't cheating on someone. He was the cheaty, the cheaty.
The mistress.
He was the mistress, yeah, or the master.
Whoa, I don't like that.
Yeah, I thought about that as I said it out loud. But he was essentially the oh, there's a word for it. It's the bull. And he was the bull. I don't know if we can laugh at that.
I feel like cuckolding has had such a crazy change in terms of society. Or maybe it's just I've just gotten older, but I feel like 2000s, they weren't out here making cuckolding jokes as often as we are.
I think cuckolding is more prevalent than ever, as evidenced by the American government. You can just watch the Democrats get cuckolded every day. I'm just watching some heinous shit being done by Republicans, and the Democrats being like, "No, stop," and then secretly just jerking off to it. Sorry if this is gonna get real political. Some things happened over the last week.
Wait, things happened? I thought it...
That's the thing. It's not even just the one big bad. Several bad things have happened. The Supreme Court is on a fucking tear right now. It's almost like they know they're going to be illegitimized because the person who put them there is about to go to jail.
Let's not... We gotta get off this topic only so that way Carlos doesn't get us in jail.
That's true. Real quick, I do want to say, if you haven't read the stuff about the January 6th hearing, testimonies and stuff like that, it is wild. I told you, I gave you the highlights, and it is wild.
I don't know how, like, that's one of those things that I don't think I'll ever be able to describe to my child. Of like, yeah, one day I was home out working from home, watching soccer, and all of a sudden I'm like, look like something going on over there. But anyway, back to the cheating story.
Just real quick though, because I think we talked about this last week, but I want to mention it again. We had two very different experiences.
Oh yeah. No, we did it in one of the earlier videos. We told
did,
this story before, yeah.
That I slept through it, but okay, continue.
But again,
so
if someone donates 200K,
that's true.
We will go back and delete it.
We'll delete it. We'll never talk about anyone. I'll remove Carlos forever. So you so going back, you have a story about someone jumping out a window.
Yes. So if you remember, viewers, Carlos grew up in a strict household, very, very strict. And one of the things in classic coming of age youth stories is of course like parents are not in the house, no friends over. You know, it's just supposed to be me and my sister, particularly in the summer. So Melissa's in high school, and I think she's either a junior or senior. And
that would
either
make us 8th grade or 9th grade.
Yeah, so I forget the exact timeline, but I remember at least being like, okay, me and Melissa have the house to ourselves. I know no one should be coming over, but because Alex comes over to play video games, I can't snitch on whoever she brings into our household.
So just to clarify, you had a rule of no guests, and both of you were like, okay, we're obviously going to have guests.
Yes.
And it was like a Cold War of like you couldn't tell the other because you would both go. It was mutually assured destruction.
Yeah, the agreement was really
unspoken.
You don't snitch, I don't snitch. We all get to do what we want, and we patch over each other's stories, and we always got each other's back because since we are siblings, we are a united front against the terror of my father.
Take heed, future parents. If they have siblings, even if you think they don't get along, there are things they can compromise on. So maybe don't be a strict asshole. Maybe just let your kids do things. Like,
I think the benefit of having only just me and my sister allows for recognizing there are two of us and we need to band together. Where I've seen with people with more than another sibling, there's very much two of them decide to form an in group, and everyone else decides to break that in group as quickly as they can.
As a person who grew up in a family of 3 children. So what would most often happen is my brother and I would team up against my sister. Most of the time she was actually guilty, so it was fine. But there were a couple times where it was like boy who cried wolf, or girl who cried wolf, where it was like she didn't do it this time, but like there's stuff she's gotten away with. She needs the punishment anyway. Like it's not like we felt fine about it. So there was that, and then there was occasionally she would pin things on my little brother, and I'd be like, I want to defend him, but like I don't want that smoke on me near me because I was doing stuff I shouldn't have been doing. So I'm just gonna sit this one out.
But so to go back, Melissa had brought a boy over. The thing is, again,
was your sister fucking?
Why you gotta ask me that? We recording. My brother in Christ, I get nothing from answering that. How am I supposed to answer that?
What do you mean?
Probably like what?
That's just it was just a part of the story you were just gonna ignore, like.
I'm not trying to engage with it because that's not the point of the story. I knew they were doing something up there.
They weren't playing checkers.
Yeah, like what? I had the video games. They weren't trying to come flick Mario Kart. Like what? Like.
All right, it's not necessarily that I wanted you to have the mental image in your head. I just sort of like to cause trouble.
I'm glad you let me know. All I remember was I was replaying Sly Cooper 1. I don't know why. I was just playing it. I was like, whatever. I ain't got shit to do today. Why not play a hit? Dude comes in, says what's up. Cause I'll say this, dude was always friendly to me. He never tried to he tried to have a conversation. He played a game of FIFA. He at least understanding the small things of, we don't need to blow it up. Let's all be friendly here. Understand that this is a union. They skedaddle up to my sister's room. God save her soul. And my sister's room is on the 2nd floor. Something to note is you could climb out my sister's window on the second floor and get to the on top of our kitchen. And then from there,
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
And theoretically, from there, you could either go to the porch, or like jump to the grass. So I'm living my best life. You know me.
You're like slow.
Exactly. I'm just chilling, enjoying my summer day, and then I hear someone ring the doorbell, and I'm like, I didn't call Alex to come over, and my mom's not coming home for another couple hours, and I know Melissa didn't invite anyone else because like Melissa also me and Melissa had the same rule of you only get one, because once you bring in a third party candidate here, there's just too many people in the house. It's gonna bring attention. Someone's gonna snitch.
So you're saying you don't approve third parties back then? Gotcha.
No. So I go to the door, and I get to the door, and I'm like, oh shit, it's my grandmother. And I know my grandmother knows that we're not allowed to have nobody in this house. And I'm like, I know she about to wild. Like, I know she about to wild out if she notices that someone's in this house, as well as you run the risk of someone like even if you don't tell her like, please lie to me, which she's not, or lie for me, which she's not gonna do, because this is also my father's mother. There's also like in casual retelling of the story, she won't omit that like, oh yeah, this person was in this house, and my parents would be like, what do you mean that person was in my house? Like they had done before when like my uncle would come over unannounced, and like me and my friend were playing. He would like it'd be weeks later, and he's telling the story of like, oh yeah, he had that person in the house, and I was like, no, I did not. I don't know what he's talking about.
And you were like, shut the fuck up, I'm making it hot.
Exactly.
Shut the fuck up.
So, I immediately know we got a crisis on our hands. Shit, Melissa has no idea because she has not come down, but she heard the doorbell.
Well, no, she was busy.
Okay, I know she heard the doorbell because I hear her.
Sorry, getting busy. Continue.
I hear her close the door, and she comes down. She comes downstairs, and we both look at each other like, the jig is up. We're like, how do we get this dude from out of her room and out the front door?
So what was your grandmother doing? She was just like, I'm just gonna chill here now, like.
Well, she used to just like, so she lived at my aunt's, which was 2 blocks over. And when my aunt would annoy her, it would be like a regular thing of hers, because she knows that like me and Melissa are just gonna do our own thing, so she could just watch TV, make phone calls, and like not have anyone need her or just annoy her with talking. Loving grandmother.
Yeah. Very much in line with the Lopes family.
So yeah, I for me most of the time it was just fine, because I was just like, cool, I'm just gonna play video games. I'll set you up with the TV. I'll give you the phone. You ain't gotta worry about nothing. I'll warm something up for you to eat. But now me and Melissa are like, there ain't no food here. We can set her up with the TV, but she looked like she wanted a conversation. So I was just like, fuck, one of us is gonna bite this bullet, and it ain't gonna be me. As well as she never wants to talk to me, because she always wants to talk. She wants to talk to Melissa, because she's always just like, Melissa, you're 16 now. You can drive me places. And she's just like I forget what she was trying to do, but she was trying to have a
And she was like, fuck Carlos. We don't need Carlos.
Yeah, I just like, whatever. Me. But also Melissa was like, I'm going to have you run interference, because obviously she can't go back up to her room because my grandmother is talking to her. She's going to follow her. And then she'd be like, why the door closed? So she's like, oh. Oh,
I did forget. Your family was very much one of those where it's like, why is that door closed?
Yeah,
which like was not my family at all. We were very much like, we had the doors closed and nobody questioned anything. They were just sort of like, I don't know, whatever.
Nah, I lived in a totalitarian state. Them doors was open. Big brother was watching.
What we talked about before, my family was very much like, I have kids? What? Oh, right. Like it's just like very different parenting styles.
My dad felt the obligation of parenthood, but also was just like, and my mother, because I am your parent, you get no privacy, because I will make the decision about your privacy. They slowly grew out of it, but like honestly, I think it was because my dad, when he first came to this country, sorry to take us on a side conversation.
Yeah, we hate tangents here. So just
my dad lived in a house with like 14 migrant workers, and his sister, the so-called sister that my grandmother was trying to get away from, and her two kids. And her two kids would get into shit all the time, and they would always have their door closed. So my dad, like, I think at an early age, my dad was just like, if you keep that fucking door open, they ain't gonna want to do drugs. They're not gonna want to do shit.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
Yeah, you close that door, and God, there goes life. So doors closed, but also this nigga, you know, he had manners, so he at least left his shoes by the door. But like, my grandma see them shoes, she's like, those aren't your shoes, because you wouldn't like have them, you'd have them put away. And I'm like, oh, they're my friend's shoes, I'm gonna go bring it to him afterwards, he forgot them here. She's like, why'd your friend forget his shoes? I was like, oh,
she's asking the real questions here.
I was like, we were playing sports, you don't play sports with those shoes. And she goes, okay, all right. You can tell she's not convinced, but I'm like, girl, I need you to like.
You're like, this is not my fight. Like, someone else needs to take over here.
As well as, so where the TV room is and where the stairs like to upstairs are, if you like, the TV is in the corner of the house. So there's two doors going into it. There's one from like another small room, and then one from the kitchen. You need to enter the kitchen to exit the front door. Or at least that's the main exit. As well as you could exit through the front of the house, but if you try to exit through the front of the house, everyone's gonna see you. So we're trying to get her into the TV room and shut all the doors. Luckily it's hot, so it's really not that much of an issue to be like, oh, it's hot, come on, why don't you go sit in the one air conditioned room of the house. But she's like, nah. She's like, why are these shoes here? Like, have y'all had people over here? Because she's trying to become police now, and I'm like, all right.
It's like, let's see here.
I'm like, I'm not holding this cross for anyone. I'm ready to give Melissa up. And then Melissa's just like, I don't know how, but Melissa convinces her to get away from the door. And she looks at me like, bring that nigga his shoes. So I grab the shoes. I bring him up to him. He puts the shoes on. He's like, oh shit, thanks, man. Do you think I can make it go to the door? And I'm like,
no.
I don't know. She's like right there. So she goes back to the kitchen. She's talking to me again. Like, where did the shoes go? I was like, oh, I called him over and I gave them to him. She's like, well, then where is he? I was like, oh, he lives across the street, which is true.
Alex did live. Yeah.
And she'd seen me play with him before, and that he lived across the street. So she was just like, she was still not like, damn, that nigga is either very fast or quick fast. We somehow get her away from the door, or like she's focusing at us and not the door. And this nigga, after I gave him his shoes, came up with the bright idea of, again, he could have climbed on top of the kitchen and then jumped, like, granted, it was like a story and a half, to the grass and then like go, or drop to the porch and then run. This nigga decided to drop from the 2-story all the way to the concrete.
Oh.
No, but again, he was like senior in high school / early college, so you know them niggas is invincible. Lands on his feet like a cat. We hear like a big boom, and then he runs away. And then I was like, yeah, see, that was my friend. She's just like, but how did that doesn't really line up? And I was like, nah, but that's him. So yeah, that's a nigga jumped out my sister's bedroom story.
That wasn't lightning.
But then again, I'm like, what scenario are you jumping out of a window? And it's not your like life or death. Obviously, people, if they think that they'll have a better situation living, jumping out. I mean, more of like, you about to get caught with some shit. How high are you jumping? You know?
So, that was a good time to tell my story about jumping out a window. Just let you go that whole time.
What's your story? Do I know this?
No, I don't think you do.
How old? How old are you?
This would have been high school.
Okay. What year?
I don't remember. It was just high school. It was like mid-high school, so it was like sophomore, junior.
Okay, so I was more of like Situate, because remember, you didn't go... No, you did for freshman year.
I went to Situate, doxing ourselves, by the way. I was in Situate every year. I only missed the end of 8th grade. Or the beginning of 8th grade.
Okay.
So shut the fuck up.
Yeah, but, we had to edit that.
No, it's fine. Who cares? We don't. Neither of us live there anymore, and none of our family does either, so it doesn't matter. I Um, so I was I would occasionally get into trouble just from like mouthing off. I never did anything wrong, like warranting like bad behavior. It was just like the only time I ever like got in trouble was because I was just like said something I shouldn't have.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, this is a bad one. But I when I got a job, my stepfather was out of work, and over dinner, I was just like, I was just being a little shit. I was like, yeah, it's been a tough day, you know, out there working my job. Because he'd been out of work for a while, and I was just like, you know, then coming home
with the J-O-B, bitch.
And he was like, it had led to him like getting mad, and there was like another night like following that where I was still like kind of mouthing off, and he was like, or he was like, you know, you're a little pissant. And I was like, what a weird insult. Like, I was just like, but also like, I'm your height. Like, I'm much bigger than you. But then he started saying like, what are you gonna do? Try and fight me? How do you think that's gonna work for you? And I was like, I think I'll demolish you. To be honest, like, he was a skinny guy. And I was like, I mean, you're like 50. Like, I think I could demolish you. And he, we were very close to coming to blows. But he, and then he was like, no. How do you think it's gonna work for you when I call the police? And I was like, oh, we're playing this game. Like, we're not playing street rules here. Like, we're going a modified rule set here. And so I was like, I mean, I think they'd be very interested to know about that pot plant growing in our front yard. Like, and he just like, just a lot of like back and forth of just like, I was very good. I'm like, one thing I've always been proud of myself of is like, you know how people are always like in the shower, like, I wish I said that. Like, I'm very good about just saying that in the moment. Like, I'm better at it now of like, there are consequences, which is why you shouldn't say these things. There a little bit of a cause and effect here. But so he, like, talked over my mother, and they were like, you're grounded, you can only go to work, and that's it. Who gives a shit? I was just gonna sit home and play video games anyway. But like, now, when they tell you can't, now it's like, well, that's the only thing I want to do now. It's like, just to disobey you. So
do you know what? Oh, sorry. Finish your story.
Take a tangent.
Okay. On the flip side, my dad realized at a very early age of like kicking him or keeping him indoors was not going to work because he was just going to play video games. Or I would just read the day away and be like, whatever. He decided at one point, he was just like, I'm just going to kick you outside. And if Alex isn't out there, you're just going to be outside with nothing to do.
He got you.
Yeah, and he would do it all the time. So I'd just be like outside, just like looking around, seeing what was going on.
This is why it's insane. Carlos, you lived maybe 10 minutes from like a beach. You could have just walked to the beach. Like, you had so many options.
I wasn't allowed to leave the block.
Wait.
Yes.
So his version of grounding you was basically go sit in the front yard. Like,
yes. Let the neighborhood see. Let people see.
Oh man. Immigrant parents do it a little differently. That's all I have to say. It's just like, there's a little bit of madness there. Like, yeah. I don't know. We're getting a little bit into like torture in a way.
I mean, I'll say that I've heard worse stories from my cousins.
Oh, for sure.
But also, my other cousins, I'm all like, you are all fuck ups. Like, and this nigga, my parents love to praise themselves of like, we've done great jobs with our children. And I'm like,
this is what I keep thinking is like, none of that is their accomplishment. Like, it's.
To a point, you know, they gave me a nice environment.
They were very good about making sure that you like were good in school and stuff like that, and like preparing you and stuff for the future. Things that my parents did nothing. So I was very much like, oh, I have to figure this shit out myself. I'm 18. This is great. I love this.
Or not even that you're 18, that you're 15, 14, and you understand that like now you have to like set up your own homework schedule. You gotta.
So that's like, what I mean. It's like I just didn't have that. So
it like one that really pissed me off with parents. Like when I hear about other parents doing that, I'm like, no, you need to give that kid at least some structure. But one of the things that people hold against me is that I can be very structured in terms of like my time and whatnot. And then I'm like, nah, it's over that. Granted, I know with you, Nick, that you're the one person I'm like, I do not. I just show up when I show up.
Yeah. What the fuck, by the way? Like, you're one of the most structured people I know, but then when it comes to me, you're like, I'll figure it out. I'm like, no, that's my job. You're the one who's supposed to be fucking structured. I hate it. You and Spencer and Mark do this shit to me, where I am like the least structured person. Mark actually is worse than me, but like, I'm like the least structured people. I work with very professional people to an extent, like, and not socially, but like work-wise. And you fucks just continuously make me have to be the person who has to step up, and I hate it. I'm like, I don't want to be this person. You turned me into this person.
All right, so back to what you were saying about. So they were like, you're grounded. You can't go to work.
So my room is on the second floor. My window leads to a grassy backyard, and my parents lived in the furnished basement because it also had like its own like exit and stuff like that. In a different world, it could have been like its own like studio apartment in a way. So we got a really good deal on this like big house before like every apartment I've ever lived. My mother screwed them over on rents. But so we had this like really you might have been, yeah, you were there like once or twice maybe.
Was that the house we went to? Oh yeah, where they left for a weekend and you had the house.
Yeah, that was the. Wait, no, that wasn't that house. That was a different house.
No. Oh, is that the other house that was like?
It was the one
you're
like
pretty much in Norwell.
Yeah, it was in the middle of the woods. It was like the one you're talking about. I was like right by 7-Eleven.
North Situate, yeah.
Yeah, because I've lived literally in all four corners of Situate. So I. Ooh, that's not good. So I was just like, all right, well then. I like had someone like ready to pick me up, and I just like, without even hesitating, I was just like on the window, like I got in my window, sat on it, and I was like, I'm tall enough where I can get away with this, and I just like jumped down and tucked and rolled, and like I literally just like did one roll and like had enough momentum where like I jumped to my feet, and I was like, all right, let's go. Like it was.
Where did you go?
It was very easy. I think I just went down to like hang out in like the harbors, and like I was just like, it was literally, the whole point of it was just like, I don't even need to do this. I just want to. Like, it's...
This is also, it gives me a little anxiety as about raising a child.
Oh,
because
it's
something
I think about a lot. Like,
I'm planning to live in a major city, so I'm like, how is this, like, I'm not prepared for, like, I lived suburban rebellion, which is like, if we take away this car, you ain't gonna walk all that distance. And it wasn't until I was like high school where I was like, I can walk that far out of spite that like I can get there. But like in the city, I'm like, man, this kid gets pissed off, they take the subway all the way to the end of a stop. I'm not gonna know that they're all the way in goddamn like the Bronx and they're just out there with their friends.
So I've learned a lot. I think both of us would be pretty decent parents because we know the lines. Like we know not to push a kid too far. Like we know when to do it. We know when to be lenient. And we know, like, you know, there's stuff like that. Teenage rebellion is always going to be a thing. But, like, it's just, like, how they rebel directly reflects on you, so.
As well as, like, from everything I've heard from parents, they've all made it seem like one quote that stand out for me was a dude who's like, as a father, I feel like I'm on drugs. He's like, I'm the happiest I've ever been. I'm the maddest I've ever been. He's just like, because I'm just like, even, and now I look back to my own father, I'm like, imagine coming home to me, you're 38, you worked a long day, and this nigga just wants to wild out. He's just being uncooperative. It was a long, hard day. You're tired. You dealt with shit. And now this nigga wants more from you. I get it. And my sister.
So I had the weird situation of like, so my mother kind of fried her brains on drugs. But like, I didn't learn this until much later in life. Her side of my family is very, very intelligent. And so like, I was the smartest person in the house, which is weird. You shouldn't be smarter than your parents. Not that young. Like, I can understand it, like, maybe as you sort of get into high school, a little bit about some things, but, like, you lack the experience. I had the experience and the intelligence just through the fucking ringer I'd been run. And I was like, it's weird. I don't like this. Like, I was by, like, freshman year. Like, it's... And so, like, I was a quiet kid, but, like, whenever I was, like, trying to order or told to do something, like, I didn't want to, I would just, like, come back with, like, why would I do that? And they would be like, well, we'll do this if you don't. And I'm like, okay, I'll just do this. And it's like I was always like way too quick and ready to like respond, and they fucking hated it. Like it's just so it's weird. It's just like and their parenting, like they didn't have any like authority over me, if that makes sense. Whereas your dad had nothing but authority.
Yeah, it had nothing. Then they, goddamn, totalitarian state. Also, I feel like I wouldn't be like that because I'm like I'm easygoing for the most part, but also I'm just like how easygoing can you live with a teenager in New York City? At what point is it like this is negligent parenting, sir?
I think it depends on the kids, and
Yeah,
like
true.
I do. That's something like I'm not looking forward to finding out for ourselves. I don't plan to have children at the moment, so it's not something I have to worry about. But like my friends are all gonna have children, so I'm gonna be the fun fucking uncle who visits and has no responsibilities. But it's like one of those things where it's like nobody ever prepares you or tells you like some kids' brains are just wired differently. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what your parenting is gonna do, you just have to do the best you can. Where it's like they could be a fucking menace, they could be the quietest kid, or they could be a fucking incel on 4chan. Like there's anything in between. It's like there's just nothing
top
you can,
5 worry.
that is a top 3 worry. I don't want anyone I know's kids to become a fucking 4chan. And Spencer is the most at risk. I'll say it. Like, it's
Yeah.
100%.
I told Juliana of like your brother, like your brother, if he has a boy, we gonna police that internet. What you looking up? What you on Reddit for?
So that's the thing, is you don't block anything. You let them access the sites they want to, because if you block something, they'll make it their fucking mission to find a way out.
Yeah, but you gotta make it super corny when they go on some shit.
No, but you gotta track them.
Yeah, you do gotta go NSA on that shit. I remember when my dad found out that I was on the porns.
I got a story about this too, so I'll let you first.
It's such a weird. It was a weird conversation because the fun thing about my father, and I bet you noticed this about me, Nick, is sometimes when you press an issue and it's awkward enough for me, I'll just drop it because I'm like, I really don't want to feel awkward.
Do you think I noticed that? Do you think it's the first fucking thing we talked about in this video? Yeah, I did notice that.
Also,
scolding you is
remember,
impossible unless you're on in a voice call. By the way, I've tried to call you up for shit on text, and you will just ghost like I've never seen. You fucking Danny Phantom has entered the text chat because you will be impossible to get through to. You just brought up some deep stuff I have with you.
That reminds me of when we went to see Star Wars because I fucked up the movie time to be so late.
Oh my god!
With the Burger King.
We've told this story across multiple series.
Yeah,
but
it is. Yeah, but like my father's like that. If it's awkward and he's really like, I'm not trying to.
I wonder where you got it from then. Like,
he's just like, cool, fuck it. I don't want to press. So it's like one time he's like, hey, I saw this stuff on the computer, like a lot of naked girls. You know, like where's that from? I was like, someone sent that to me. I did not click those links, sir. I did not do anything.
Immediate full panic, like.
Yeah, and he's just like, oh, okay, all right. Okay, and then my mother came out of like, if you're thinking about having sex, it better be safe sex. I am not old enough to be a grandmother. Yeah, my mother loved like the intense PSA speech, while something very innocuous. She told me like you can't smoke weed while I was playing the beginning of Fallout 3. She came into the house. I was like,
so weird. You remember it that way?
No, because I remember it specifically because I was playing video games and I'm like, oh, it was like my second time trying to give Fallout 3 a chance because like I had gotten it like months earlier. I played the beginning, but I played like something else for the last 2 months and I was just like, oh, cool. Oh no, that's what it was. I felt like Fallout 3 would be better served to during summer vacation because again, if you remember,
you and your weird fucking seasonal shit with like
I realized just now why it was because if it was a big game, I was like, oh, summer, I'm only gonna get one other game as well as I can play every day, so it's got to be something that will last me most of the summer. Where like a short story video game, if it's 12 hours, it's really gonna be like 4 because I'm only playing on the weekends and I don't have the weekends to myself. If you see?
Sure.
So Fallout, it's summer. My mom bursts in the room and she's just like, someone at work. Avid. My mother calls me by my middle name. She goes...
I go back and forth. I call you Ed when I'm mad at you. Or when I'm going to call you up for doing something stupid, I'll be like, Ed, how did you let this happen?
She's just like, they asked me for a joint, and I was just like, oh, what's a joint? And she's like, they asked me for a joint, and then I go with them, and it smells, and it hurts my head, and I realize they're smoking weed, and I was like, wait, do you mean to say joint? And she goes, yes. And then,
and the Lord is my witness.
yeah, she was just like, if I ever catch you doing drugs, I will murder you. She's just like, I will murder you, or and if God help you, if the police find you with drugs, tell them to take you away from me, because I don't want you. I was like, oh, great, thank you.
So similar story, real quick. This, because you'll think this is like, I think you'll side with me on this one, and I think so will the audience.
So you were definitely on some bullshit.
No, no. It's not like I genuinely think you will. It's not like a Carlos. You'll side with me.
Okay.
So I like that you said okay to that. Like you, anyway. So my entire family did drugs. My stepfather was a dealer, like a big dealer. Like he would like have like whole filled Ziploc bags at once and shit like that. He did that after like some kid like annoyed him by saying he didn't have a job. So it's like it may be my fault, but he like had stopped for a long time. He picked it up after a certain annoying conversation. We don't have to get into it, but like it may or may not be my fault. It's fine. It's fine, Carlos. I said it's fine.
All right.
So,
all right.
So he was a dealer. My brother and sister both started smoking pretty young, and had their friends over and smoking stuff like that. My mother did every prescription narcotic imaginable and weed and a bunch of other stuff I don't fully know about. And I tried weed in sophomore year maybe. My first weed story is the saddest story in the world, but I'm gonna tell it again anyway. I went to smoke weed with a girl I was trying to go out with, and her less attractive friend. And we went to like a secluded area near one of the beaches, and we smoked it for the first time. I was like, oh, I heard this. So I already done it like once with like friends, I guess, because the whole thing is like you don't feel it until the second time. I did it once with some friends and felt nothing. That one was less remarkable. It was just like your standard like kid thing. Like we did it in like someone's basement or something. No, we did it in the woods out of a Coke can, a Diet Coke
classic.
can. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's like that's an important distinction. But but the second time they had like one of them had like a pipe, and so we smoked it from that, and like started walking back town, and I was like starting to feel it. I remember the feeling specifically being like, it feels like my body just got like 2 inches longer on all my arms and legs, and it's like trying to walk with that feeling is weird, where it feels like I don't fit. I don't know, just weird high stuff. But so I all of a sudden, one of them says like, "Oh, we're gonna go to the pep rally at the high school. See ya." And like someone comes and picks them up.
Oh my god!
Yeah, and I was like, or they like said they were gonna do that, and I was like, "What?" And then, you know, like you said, I was like, "What?" And then it's Pichu. So they did Pichu Cliché. You can't hear this, you're too young. But so they stranded me there alone. My first time being high.
What did go wrong?
Yeah, and I was like, that was really fucked up. That was really fucked up. And but like, so I wandered back into town. I went to a local sub place that everyone loved called Maria's. I don't know if you've ever been there, Carlos, but
oh. You know me. I'm a Maria stan. I'm ostracized in my family for that stand.
We should genuinely go back there one time. I miss Maria's. They're the only people. I haven't had a good meatball since Maria's, and I hate that.
Oh, I'll take you there.
So I go there and I go to order a meatball sub, and the person who took my order was someone who's like a grade above us. I never like really got to know them, but like I like vaguely knew them. Like we had gym class together or something. So like they took my order and
oh yeah, Anne Maria's was super sexist.
Were they? Anyway, we can touch on that after.
No. Just because I think this might play into your story a little bit. At Maria's,
the
girls were all the sandwich makers, and all the
dudes
dudes were in the back where you couldn't see them.
Yeah,
so it'd be like
all the girls were up front being cashiers and sandwich makers, and the dudes were working the grills in the back. It was very, very weird.
Also, it was also something probably that was like a thing of our hometown was there were a bunch of restaurants that only like, okay, this also would be a little problematic, but I was in high school, like only the pretty girls would work at certain places, and it would be like.
But you are correct. They would specifically hire that way. I remember it was a big thing. We had a couple ice cream shops because again we were like a touristy destination, and it was like the same thing every time. It was like it would be worked by like the 5 most like attractive girls in our grade or like in the grades like above us, stuff like that, and they would just rotate between these jobs.
Yeah, and
they would start at the ice cream shop or they would start at the grocery store and they would move on to become waitresses. Like it was like this very weird like pipeline.
It was also, I think, a social stratification thing, because like you'd see one girl join, like they'd start working together, they'd form a friendship, and then they would
essentially move to the new job with it too. Yeah.
Yes. And you could see the links.
So anyway, I was ordering a sandwich and like she like took my order and I paid and she goes like, then she said to me, "You are so high right now," and then to which I like my reaction time wasn't as fast, so I did the thing. I said, "What?" And then like I realized after I said what, I realized what she said, and then she went nothing, and then I was like, "Oh," because I'd like figured it out at that point. So I went to eat my sandwich alone, which I like never do. I never would go out to eat like I'm by myself. I would just take it home. But I didn't have a car to get home or any way to get home, and I lived on the other side of town. So
yeah, and you lived on like the other side of town.
There was no way. Like even if I walked, it would have taken like 7 hours. Like so.
And there's no sidewalk, so it would have been you in the middle of the street. People would have driven by you like, "Ain't that?" And it's
if you've never driven in like a foresty area, it's a windy road, so that would not have gone my way. So I went to a baseball field that nobody used nearby. So I started trying to eat my sandwich, but I was like getting paranoid. It's like if she noticed I was high, other people might. What if I'm eating my sandwich like a high person? Like I knew I was getting it. Like I could tell in my hands I was getting messier. On my hands it was messier than it normally was and stuff like that. So I was like, I'm just gonna take it and finish it over. And I sat in like the shade away from where the cars like you couldn't see me over by the on this like kind of abandoned baseball field in the middle of town. It's like a very small like little league field.
I'm picturing you with your hair right now as well, and I'm like, definitely.
Yeah. It wasn't long hair. I think I've had like I had my normal short hair. I think.
No, you were. Well, maybe I'm thinking of a younger you.
So my strategy with my hair would be I would get it like buzz cut and then I would let it grow for 6 months. And then I would go and get a buzz cut again. So it's honestly I could have had long hair, I could have had short. My hair also grew like really, really slow. So, and then finally I pulled out my Nokia, which is an old sentence, and I T9 texted my mom that I was done, could she come pick me up? And then naturally she was late, so I sat there just staring off while she came, and then when she came I was like, don't smell it on me, don't smell it on me. And I was like, don't.
Oh yeah, you had your short hair.
And I was like, I just gotta make it through like a normal conversation, and then I did. But like I don't think she noticed, and if she did, she didn't say anything. But so that was my first time getting high, for real. And I don't think I did anything again for like probably like 12 years. I was just like, no, so we're done here. It's not for me. And
that was a funny thing about our friendship.
What was?
We both were like, let's not just. We both smoked weed like once. It like got high and once in high school. And we both were like, all right, I'm good for a while. I'm good now.
And then things changed in adulthood.
Yeah.
We don't need to get into that. We don't need to get into the secret of why Carlos is funnier in part 5 and 6 than he was in the first 4 videos.
We'll leave it to the user's imagination.
But so later that week, my mother had gotten in trouble with DCF or DCS, whatever the child services is abbreviated to, which would happen occasionally. You can fill in the blanks why. And she was like, "Listen, they're gonna drug test you guys. You better make sure you're all in the up and up." And I was like, "Are you of all the fucking times? Like really?" this is why I talk about this. And Carlos, you can verify some of this. I have sitcom luck, and I don't know how it happened, where I will live a normal life, and then I'll do something mildly out of the ordinary, and then whatever, like, a sitcom-esque consequence for that would be, like, you can picture this on a sitcom, where it's like they do it for the first time, and then that's the week they get drug tested for something. That shit happens to me in real life. I don't know how it keeps happening. Like
Van in that episode of Atlanta.
Yeah. Can you like confirm with me so I'm not crazy? Like, I do have weird sitcom luck with like the way my shit happens.
Weird shit do be happening to you, but I think it's also the chaotic scenario of which you live your life.
That could be true too. So, anyway, so then I admit to her, and I was like, "Listen, Mom, when you picked me up the other day, like I'm just being on the up and up. I had gotten high the day." She lost her fucking mind and was like screaming at me from the top of her lungs, saying like, "How could you do this to this family?" And I'm like, whoa, like, you can't fucking point this to me when every other person in this house is high on something and there has something in their system right now. Like, there's no way you can put this on me.
I'm with her for that.
No, that's bullshit. And she was like, "No, we were putting you up as the pillar of the good child." And I was like, "The fuck is that?" Like, and then just to like round this out, like 6 months later, my brother and sister were smoking weed with my stepdad, and I was like, "What the fuck is this? This is bullshit. They didn't even have to wait the 3 years like I had to. Like, this is." So that's my story about getting. Oh, I'm sorry. No, so that was the tangent of a story.
Yeah.
The original story was getting caught with porn. So your dad caught you with porn, and he was like, "I don't want to talk about this."
Yes.
So my porn story was, this was when we were younger. I think we probably were in like middle school. I want to say like 7th grade. My what type of Pokemon is this, by the way?
It's a ghost.
And it's a dual type.
Psychic?
No.
Flying?
No. I've given you this hint before, but the color of the Pokemon usually denotes
poison.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't have the list up.
Oh, it's still in the Discord thing. Pull it up.
Yeah, I know. I just clicked it.
So the way we only had one computer in the house, and I
like any good household.
I feel so old saying this, by the way. Like,
isn't this is
so? We went through so much in our generation. Like, technology went fucking insane over the course. Like, we started high school using flip phones, and then by the end of high school, we had like iPhone 4s and 5s. Like,
yeah, honestly, like we came into high school.
We were in the exact weirdest spot of technology.
Facebook had just become like, I remember that was also
Facebook
like
was a college only thing. It was like in like 10th grade, Facebook opened up to high schoolers.
It wasn't 10th, because I remember freshman year going into Facebook, but there were a lot of people like, "Nah, I'm not going on to Facebook, man. Like, I like my MySpace."
There was like a plugin for Facebook. Like, we were still using AOL Instant Messenger in
because there was no chat box.
Well, on top of that, there was like an invite system through Facebook that you could like send in AIM to your friends. Be like, "Your friends are on Facebook, come join them." And I got like 7 of those, and I was like, "Get the fuck away from me!" Like, no, I'm not joining Facebook. So then I joined Facebook, and but yeah, oh man, we live in such a weird. Like, it's crazy to think the things that we saw start just became monopolies. Like,
yeah, I mean, to me, it's more crazy. Think about
T9 and texting, like, and the like older like flip phones, or like even like the brick phones. There were like a ton of different carriers, and now it's just like Androids and iPhones. You've got like the Windows phone essentially, but like there's really not much to go with.
Like, there's a Samsung phone, but still.
But you know what I mean. It's like
OS is still.
Yeah, they all run on Apple or Android.
That was like, kids are not gonna understand of like pulling up to school and people legitimately have different phones that did a different thing, and you got it because you're like, that's cool in the commercial. And this weird device does this weird. Like, I remember I had the Juke, that shitty like side flip phone, and I was like, it's cool because it's small. You can put like a couple of songs on it, and it swipes to the left instead of swiping open.
I went directly from a very basic a very basic Singular, which was then bought out by AT&T, This is the Carlos and Nick are almost 30 episode.
Yeah, this is the I told you when. Okay, viewers, to confess, when Carlos gets high, like I am now.
What? Carlos, we're recording. What?
I started doing a nostalgia talk, but anyway, I do think it is to go.
Can't believe you didn't tell me this got chat. I had no idea. I never would have let him on as a guest. I'm not Joe Rogan. Like I never.
To kind of bring it full circle, something to worry about children. We grew up where there was the family computer, as you're about to tell your porn story, right?
Yes.
Where nowadays kids would just, like, from the age of 5, you have a device that goes online and it's just yours. Like, you used to have to wait for your time with the computer.
You had to wait until they were out of the house. Like,
oh yeah, yeah.
Like it's very different.
Out of the house, out of the town. Really give yourself some time.
How many times did you have to learn the lesson of like, okay, we're going, and then wait 5 to 10 minutes because sometimes people come back in the house.
Yep.
And when you're like a 13-year-old,
never forget.
Yeah, that's true. When you're a 13-year-old kid, guess what the first thing your thought is as soon as the parents leave? It's like, how can I get this nut off? Like, that is your all-consuming thought.
Juliana does not understand that. I was just like,
every
point,
teenage boy is a gremlin. Every single fucking teenage boy is a gremlin.
I was just
without
fail. It wherever. Just wild about it too. Like there'd be days I'm just like, let me do this why was I living that recklessly, you know? But anyway, you the porn. You're on the family computer. The god, and you were jacking off in front of a family device. You know, and you have to do.
My controller is across the room right now. But yes. Hold on, I gotta grab it. Bam. No, thanks, Carlos. I appreciate you not continuing the story.
Oh, my bad.
As I had to get up and get my controller. I appreciate you. You were literally the one talking, but you couldn't keep talking when I dropped my controller. Thank you. No, I appreciate it. You're a great co-host. Thank you.
All right, I'm sorry.
But yeah, think about it that way. Where it's like there's no like, like today you wouldn't know if there was like a webcam or something installed. Like that shit just didn't exist when we were kids.
You were just like, all right, everyone's out this bitch. I saw the car turn, and I know that it's at least 5 minutes to get to where now. It's gonna take whoever they are they're gonna be there for a while. All right, I got enough time to bang this out.
Quite literally.
Also, we had siblings. That's another crazy thing. Only children. I'm like, I understand. Only children living in like that.
You had to make sure your brother and sister or I had to make sure my brother and sister weren't in the house either.
Yeah, and they were chaos factors because they ain't got no rhyme or reason. My mom goes to work at this time. She comes home exactly at this minute. My sister, she's.
Do you want to?
You can't contain that.
Do you want to really date ourselves here?
Oh, do it.
Or not really date ourselves, but date like a close. So, I have a stepdad, and then I have my mother's ex-fiance, who was like a normal human being with empathy, who was like, okay, like I don't have to be with you anymore, but like someone has to take care of your fucking kids. Like you can't just keep ignoring them like they don't exist. So he would like basically fill in as like a father for us, and is like who I pretty much call my dad today. He has a son. Who sometimes I would call my older brother. I don't really call him that anymore because I think he's kind of a shithead. But he was much older. I'm trying to remember the exact age difference. I want to say he was like 15 years old or something like that. Something about that, like way older. He had a collection of Playboys, the magazine.
Oh yeah.
Like occasionally. Because I used to visit my dad's house, and like a lot of his shit was still there. I was just like, well, he won't notice if the Tori Wilson issue is missing. So that gave you more freedom. But anyway, so like I remember that in like porn sites, they'd be like, "Oh, you're gonna make it a free account." I'd be like, "Whatever," and just like make up a fake username and shit like that. You didn't use anywhere else.
Oh yeah, you also didn't need to put in credit card info?
No, you could just the
glory days of porn.
Which is funny because now it's different where it's like, you would never fucking make an account. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, you just find a different website. Like, but, and so like, I remember we were in a car trip, but because I would always make accounts that like had nothing to do with my other accounts, like I just like they would be ephemeral. Like I'd make them and then never look at them again, because I just wouldn't use the same site twice, except for Big Titch Patrol. That was pretty. No, I'm just kidding. Like, but I remember one time we were in the car and we were like a long trip, and like somehow it got brought up. My stepdad, he was like a little bit tech savvy. Like he knew computers well enough. Like he knew them better than most did at the time. But he was like by today's like it quickly like as I grew up with the technology, like I quickly like fucking ran circles around him. Even my brother and sister did too. Like he was one of those people where he's like he got in kind of early but like didn't keep up with it. Like so my so he was like, so anyone know about this going on like illicit websites? And I was like on like a Windows seat, and I was like no, because I was a very good liar. But then he was like anybody named Loser 2000? And I was literally just like, no. But like it was real because like I didn't remember I made that name. Like so like my indignation was like real. I was like, who the fuck would call themselves that? Like I'm like, it was convincing because I genuinely didn't remember it was me. I like later, like literally in the same car trip after like the conversation had changed, I was like, oh wait, that was me. Like, I was like, oh, I guess like. But it's just such a funny situation where I was just like, because of the nature of the way it had been like created, I was just like, no, like, it's not me. And I like would look at Mark, like I would be like, was he doing it? Like,
You want the porn?
And like it genuinely, like he listed off a couple of the names, and I was like, it's not me. Like you've seen the names I use. Why would I use that? And he's like, you could use a fake name. I was like, if I used a fake name, I would do something that like still had something to do with me. And like he just like bought that. I was like, oh, all right. I just, but I just thought it was very funny. Where it was just like internally, because I was like, I don't know, like it ended up saving me.
Oh yeah, I used to have a bullshit email that I used to use called I love Pakistan 1234.
Oh God, Carlos.
And I remember
that's
for some
a bad
reason
taste. Like,
yes.
That's okay. I have a friend who is Pakistani, whose name on YouTube is Packy Dude. And I'm like, I don't like. It's fine for you, but I'm like,
yeah, nah.
It's weird when I say it out loud. Like if I'm like, hey, how's it going, and then say the name. Like
it's like if I need my like the Negro thing I did with Persona. Like
yes,
I don't.
Yes. What did you name your Persona team again?
Knee, like as in the bending knee, grow.
And I was like, and you sent it to me. I was like, I can't say that out loud, Carlos. Like it's
because I tried the niggers and it was like, nope.
Oh my God.
I just wanted to see, and I was like, oh, maybe I can call them the Nick Kerrs.
Stop!
Like,
Stop! I can't contribute to this conversation. Stop! Like,
no. To go, I remember one time in high school, for some reason I had to pull up a presentation, but I forgot to use my regular email, which was like Carlos something at something. Instead, I had used the I love Pakistan email, and I had to log in, and everyone's reading.
Wait, they were reading your emails?
No, they're reading the name of my email.
Because that could have been worse. Like,
and people start laughing at it, and I'm like, oh shit, though, this is mad weird to pull up.
Oh man, how did we get away with being kids?
I mean, hey, it's a different time. Like,
it quite literally was a different time. Like,
there's positives of it because I think there's like, you know, like one, I didn't love living in a totalitarian state, but I was just like, there was a lot of freedom in terms of like how much my dad couldn't see still. Like in the summer, at one point he had to be like, all right, you are 13, just don't die, just like get yourself through the day. I don't care what you do. To a point where I'm like, as a parent, where you can do so many surveillance tools, like it would be very easy to be a parent who's just like, oh, I know exactly where my kid is. I have a tracker on that shit. And my dad is like, I hope that nigga's there. I hope he's there.
So that brings up a good question. If you become a father, when you become a father, in your case, do you think you'll install anything to like track your kids? Like whether it be like not even like, I'm not saying like a camera in their room or something. I think that goes way too far. But like,
I think it's straight phone.
Would you put it in their phone?
No, just like because I do find my friends with like my parents, so that way they my parents technically always know where I am, but
Okay.
mostly because of my sister's car accident, it was always like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
they found her because they found her phone and was like, you're in the middle of the highway at 5 a.m. So for me, it's just like, yeah. But there's a point where I'm like, anything further, and even still, I'm like, it's there for my own safety, but I want to have a conversation with my child that like they're 18, they can fully understand of like, do you want to consent to giving me the ability to see where you are, and knowing that you can turn off at any point. I gotta handle that, but it's dangerous because also like I can say that now before I have a kid, but like what happens is that nigga is stressing me the fuck out, and I'm like, I need to know where you are. I need to know where you are. You don't get that freedom anymore. That's revoked.
I couldn't tell you. I think I like as weird as it is. I think I probably would. I think
But I also
I think I put something in there. Like I put something in like the common room. That's just like basic security. You can kind of get away with that and just not tell the kids it was there.
nah, I can't do that. Can't do that because that's too much. That's too much. I don't even keep like there are people I know who keep a dog monitor. I don't do that. I'm like, nah, I need to know that's not because also I'll get more stressed out seeing them and being like, are they gonna do something? Have they figured out that's there?
That's a good point though. Like that's not really something I considered. Where it's like you don't like you're kind of just like waiting and like willing it to happen in a way.
Yeah, and you're also like you're putting a lot of pressure on the kid of like, my dad knows that I'm here. Like you gotta let the kid be natural, so that way they feel like it's for my own happiness.
You're not wrong. I mean, both of us were raised like having some freedom at some at like
Yeah.
a certain age.
At a like again before, even when you had a cell phone, there was always a good chance that you were in a part of the town where there was just no cell phone service, so you couldn't return a call.
True, actually.
Like you'd be like, "Oh, mom, well, you know, I was on that." Like if you were on the beach, there was back then there was no well, most beaches still don't have good cell phone service, but like there was literally like no bars, and you were just gonna be like, "Well, you
And
know, I was there for
You would tell them that, and they would be like, I guess that's true." Like,
yeah, like
no, I
texting
know.
was big as that, but yeah, it's different.
That's
as well as like
that's a weird thing. We didn't text as kids.
yeah, I never text. I still don't text my parents. I think it's really weird that people do, but like people with younger parents or people. Granted, I think also our relationship with our parents is different because our parents don't really do technology like that.
I mean, I
but
text my
like,
dad. My dad's pretty okay with technology. He's not like amazing at it, but he's good.
nah,
enough
but
with
there
it.
are people who be texting their kid like they're their best friend.
No, that shit's weird. You gotta put the
Yeah.
kibosh in that shit. My
Nah,
dad.
do-
I've
No,
also,
well, you
I've
said-
I think I've talked about this before. My dad really pissed me off at one point on my on like the way I was moving out. I've definitely told you this, but essentially, like when I thought I had like a month to move out before when I moved into with roommates for the first time, my stepmother was essentially like, "Get him the fuck out." He doesn't, like he pulled this because I like gave them like very short notice. I was moving out. I gave him like a month's notice. And they like were relying on my part of the rent, but I'm like, that's not like I can't stay there because you need me. Like, sorry, I'm like I need to move out on my own, like especially when you kind of make it miserable. So like I didn't have the incentive, and but like I gave them enough notice. I paid them like the full month's rent and stuff like that, but like she had called him while I was like moving like my first carload, and was like, you need to kick him the fuck. And like he's not coming out to take his keys. And I was like, are you really gonna fucking like do this? Like, what are we doing right now? And he was like, just do it. I'll make you like another set of keys, or this and that. Like he was trying to bargain. I was like, no, this is a line in the sand. Like, if you do this, we're done. Like I'm not gonna continue this relationship. Like why would I? Like you very clearly just shown like I don't matter to you. And like you should have to give ultimatums to your parents. It's not great.
No,
it's not a
no.
fun feeling. But sometimes like I was very annoyed because there's a lot of people in my life that live consequence free, and I don't like that. Like there's an action and a reaction. That's how life works. So like people just kind of getting away with shit doesn't sit very well with me. So. Like, for him to just be like, we'll just do it, like, behind her back. I'm like, no, because then she gets away with it. Like, I was like, we're done. And so, like, I didn't talk to him for, like, a year. Or, no. So, like, I just stopped talking to him. And then, he so he paid for my phone bill at that point. And then like 2 months later, he was like, she's really telling me like, I need to get you off the phone bill. And I was like, if you get me off the phone bill, I'm not contacting you anymore. Like, that's it. You have no ties to me anymore at that point. Like that's all we have left at this point. I have no other obligation to you.
I'm very with you on that. You can't kick someone off the family plan.
That's because it was like, it was for no reason. Like they were gonna pay more to kick me off. Like it was literally just like, it was just like a fuck you. And I was like, and he knew that. So I was like, you can't do that shit. So so like he would try and text me like, and I just wouldn't respond. And for like ages and ages, and like he would just like he would send me like a how are you, and he would just send it over and over and over, like once like every couple days, every couple weeks. Like the cadence would change depending on how busy he was. And then like I finally just answers like, what do you think I'm gonna respond with? I already told you what it is. And he's like, you can't, like stuff like that. I eventually reconciled. Like I'm fine with my dad now, but it's like I like at one point I told him that it was fine, and then like he was like, mission accomplished. And then I just still didn't text him. And then he was like, no, we're in good graces now. And I was like, no, I literally just said that so you'd stop texting me. Like, so it's one of those weird things where it's like they're with technology but not with technology.
Yeah.
Where it's like
also
it was appeasement. I don't know. That got real dark detail.
I FaceTime my parents, so it's very much
I don't FaceTime.
No, FaceTiming is intense too, because it's just like my mom is all up in my grill, like critiquing how I live through the back of the camera, like, why is that dirty over there? Why haven't you put that away? I'm like, we're talking about me right now. We're having a conversation here. My mother's so particular. She's a weird woman, very weird woman, very weird woman.
That is very odd.
Oh my parents met Juliana's parents.
Oh yeah, you said they were hitting it off.
Yeah, they were. I hate that shit.
You hate that they get along?
Yeah, that shit was trash, man. Juliana would say the same. They started tag teaming on issues.
Ooh.
They were like, so y'all gonna get married in church? And we were like, I don't know y'all like that. I don't know y'all niggas like that.
I don't know you like that. It's a really private question. They say to their parents. Like,
yeah, like that's religion. That's between me and God. You don't know that.
It's a really, really private problem. Like,
yeah, and I was also like, we're in a restaurant. Does everyone want to get upset? Do we all want to start crying here? Like, I'm not about to raise my voice and defend my woman's choice. Like, goddamn. They're edging for the grandchildren too, and I'm like, I'm not even married to this woman. There's nothing stopping her from leaving. Also, there's nothing stop me from giving her a baby. I told you that I'd give her a baby before I marry her, and she's not letting me come through on that promise.
Yeah, that puts a little bit of pressure on the wedding dress. I don't know if you knew that. Like,
nah, we gonna do it after. You gonna? No, Juliana gonna murder me if she ever hears this episode.
She won't. Juliana, not a big Wrath of Zalis fan. So
oh yeah, okay. She do be telling me whenever I put it on the TV, like, turn that shit off.
Oh, I didn't need to hear that. That's too far.
No, that's not what she says. She actually loves it.
No, she doesn't.
No,
she doesn't get our jokes. Let's be real.
She's always caught off guard that I'm watching you.
Oh wait, you don't ever watch me. What are you talking about? You only watch the stuff that you're in.
No, I watch other shit. The shit that I find interesting.
Oh! I see how it is.
Like when you did the Elden Ring thing, I threw it on the TV, and she's just like, "Are you on the phone with Nick?" And I'm like, "No." You don't see me talking to the TV, do you?
Oh my god, that'd be amazing. I'm just picturing the visual of you talking to the stream, but I'm not responding back. Just to trick Juliana.
Yo, I might start doing that. There's also what did I do? One time I put on the video one of our Smash Brothers the Mario Party one. Yeah. I was like, Julian, I tell some great jokes in this shit. She told me to cut that shit after 5 minutes of hearing me talk. I was like, that's not nice.
I've told you before that so you guys may have noticed Carlos is a black man. You don't know that because of the you don't know that because you've seen the color of his skin. You may have seen the emote in Discord, but you may have noticed by his manner of speaking and his vocabulary choices.
Yeah, it's always wild that you're my best friend.
Did not know that. So when I sent her a video Monopoly to like get a sense of how awful we are to each other and to show her that I can just destroy anyone in Monopoly, She turned it off after 5 minutes because she said, and I quote, "One of my degenerate friends said the N-word." She was furious. And like she thought I was like friends with like a racist. And I was like, no, he's black, he's black, he's black, he's black. And then she literally went, "Oh." She's like, "I don't know why you would have sent that to me." Like I was so mad. Like I was like, "I can't believe he's like this. I've known him for like a long enough where like this would have come out." And I was like, no. Like,
That shit, man, funny.
it's not funny. We almost had an argument because of you. Like,
she could literally just ask a clarifying question of, is he a nigga? Is he one with the
I don't
colors?
think she should have asked it that way.
Why not? Why not? She could have been like, Jim Crow, which water fountain he's using?
Oh my god. I think it was like, I do think it is a little weird that she just assumed I only had white friends. I'll say that part. Like, I have a lot of multicultural friends. Like,
a lot of white people ain't got white friends.
that's true. They're not as world traveled as me. Which is to say lucky, I guess. I don't know. Like, it just sort of happened. I don't think I became friends with you because you were black. I think I became friends with you because we both had digivices.
Nah, I mean, I think it's also very different. But you were. I feel like once you meet one black person, once you befriend one Negro, you befriend like, you know how to then befriend Negroes.
I don't want to say that a lot of students in our high school were a lot more relaxed around me because of you, but it definitely was a thing. Like,
because it's like there were definitely white people that I was just like, you do not, you're so boring, you're so dull to me. I do not want to continue this conversation. And then there was just like there were a couple of white dudes that I'm like, oh, they understand how to operate in the social space. But yeah, there's a lot of white dudes.
yeah, they know how to be a person. Like,
Yeah, I mean, white people be weird, man. White people be very, and it's like, it's also funnier meeting white dudes that don't understand black people and just like taking them out of the element. I love taking the white person.
I want to be clear because there's very more than likely some people who may or may not have that kind of friendship and who are watching this video. So what advice would you give to them?
I ain't got no advice.
Oh, okay. Just you have criticism, but no advice. Okay. So,
Nah, it's just like,
I don't know. This is gonna be a wild thing to say. This is gonna be potentially offensive. Carlos, you can tell me if I overstep here.
what?
I think you should treat other races like people, and just the same way you treat everyone else. I know.
Nah,
idea here.
Nah. You went too far. Let's not wild out. I do not support all you bitches. Some of you bitches are very dumb.
It's just I don't know, common sense.
I mean, making friends is tough.
I mean, I'll say this for both of us. I think we're both very gifted charismatically. Where I think
I'd be shutting the fuck up. Juliana's calling me shy.
Does she really?
Yeah. She's like, one thing about you gonna shut the fuck up.
I don't know that that's true about you ever.
Yeah, I'm pretty shy. I'm a pretty shy guy.
You were not shy. What are you talking about?
I'm loud as fuck because I know you. But a lot of people will be like, "Oh, Carl's not that."
My
not that
entire
big
life, Carlos, you have been the loudest person in the room. What are you talking about? You're shy.
That's because I'm a loud person. But
no, but not even just loud. Like, no one will talk. Well, actually, think back to math class, which is our barometer for everything. Like, I guess we were kind of just talking shit, but in the corner. Like, we weren't.
Yeah, we weren't like.
We weren't the focus of the class. We would occasionally say something too loud.
And Guildenstern.
Yes.
Yeah, but I wasn't like. I was not like, I don't have main character syndrome. Oh, so like that's another aspect.
I don't project it, but I do. I have that, but I think it's because of my sitcom-esque lifestyle.
Yeah, but I knock on doors when I go to the bathroom now. I'll tell you that. Best believe that.
What does that mean?
Remember when I...
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You didn't tell it on stream. We can tell that next week. I'll make a note of that.
Okay. All right, y'all.
But we are at time.
Yeah, I gotta go eat dinner.
Every time I look at the record, like I was like, "There's no way we've been." When I went to look at it, I was like, "Oh, we've probably been recording for like 40 minutes. It's been an hour and 20 minutes." Like,
yeah, you stopped moving at one point.
I did because I was getting ready to wrap up, and then I was like, "I guess Carlos is gonna keep going." So like, I went to.
This is a good one. This is one for the books.
So real quick, what should I call this story? Carlos walking in on someone in the bathroom. Okay, we have that for next week. We have that locked and loaded.
All right, great. All right.
So if you want to hear that story, tune into part 7.
Damn, we are flying off the handle. All
as we
right.
slowly make it through this game. This guide is so fucking long. There's so much to do in this game, and that's not a compliment.
That's good.
It's just,
Well,
there's
we got a lot to talk about.
That's true.
All right.
All right. Goodbye.